Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Rabbi Stephen with you, Rabbi Shmuel, and hope you had a good new month. Hope you had having a good Shabbat, and hope your Hanukkah was wonderful. As you can see, I still have my tie. We had a wonderful Hanukkah party. We had some local politicians. It's always great to mix with local dignitaries, have them come over to the synagogue. It's wonderful when they're Jewish, and it's even wonderful when they're not. You know, we believe in bridging that gap. We live in a mixed society with lots of cultures, lots of heritages. And while I believe pretty firmly that we need to stay true to our Jewish roots, I also believe that we should definitely b- mingle and have good relations with other people. After all, we're all descended from Adam and Eve. God created man, God created woman. Didn't say that God created a Jewish man or a Christian woman or a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Muslim or a white man and a black woman or red or yellow or whatever shades of what is it, melanin that we have on this planet, as was the human species, Homo sapiens sapien. We're all here together. A rabbi once told the Rebbitzin, my wife and I, that Hanukkah and Christmas, and I think even Kwanzaa, are really based on the same concept. Now, we call Hanukkah the Festival of Lights, right? Because it involves, the Chanukiah, the 8 stem or 9 stem menorah. And, Christmas, they light their lights, they all have their, light decorations. I'm not sure what Kwanzaa does. I apologize for that, but I think it involves the same thing. And according to this rabbi, it all stemmed from an ancient pagan rite called Saturnalia. And the Saturnalia was the ancient people who really didn't understand nature the way we do, and they didn't really have that concept of monotheism, righteous monotheism, or ethical monotheism, the fact that there's this one God that created us and loves his or her creation. But December 21st is the shortest daylight of the year. And December 22nd, you got a little bit more daylight, December 23rd, et cetera, et cetera. Or in our case, it's more like, the month of Kislev. This year, I guess the 25th of December will be, maybe, no, actually it'd be the new month of Tevet, wouldn't it? So around that winter solstice is when the day part of the day, the daylight part of the day starts getting longer, and the ancients kind of revered that and said, oh, it's wonderful, and they had celebrations. So they say that Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever else kind of stems from that. So, and I think maybe Eid's too. I'm not sure, the Muslim holiday. Anyway, if you know more than I, please let me know. Love to hear your feedback. Okay, let's talk about Vayigash. Vayigash. And Judah approached Joseph. So we now have the climax of this drama, of this melodrama, where Joseph had been sold to Egypt. The brothers either lost track of him, or there was some of the traditional commentators say that there was this cherem, this ban on. They took a pledge not to reveal where Joseph was. Joseph was supposedly, allegedly, also bound by this vow. That's why he spent 12, 13, 20 years in Egypt without contacting Jacob. The first year he was the head of household of Potiphar, who was kind of a viceroy. He was a chamberlain next to Pharaoh. Then he spent 12 years in prison. Then he was the Avrach, the father king, to Pharaoh, kind of his viceroy when he took care of the famine. That was 7 years of plenty. Then there was a couple of years of famine when the brothers showed up. So we're looking at a good 20, 21 years that he was gone. So as the viceroy, why didn't he contact his father? Say, Dad, stop worrying. I'm okay. I will see you one of these days, or come by or whatever. Because supposedly there was this ban, or it could be that maybe Joseph just felt, in his new position as Zaphaneth Paniach, or Zaphaneth Pania, which is the name that Pharaoh gave him, make sure that people didn't, look at him and see a Hebrew slave that somehow was taking over their country, but rather one of them, got the new name, dressed like an Egyptian, had the kids, was integrated into the Egyptian society, that he felt that bringing the family back might intrude in that, might create, might interfere with the Egyptians' perception. So, having said that, well, they end up coming back anyway, but they're coming back at a time when Joseph is now a hero to the Egyptian people because he's basically saved them from certain starvation. So here's Joseph, Zaphaneth Paneah, in his new role as the Egyptian viceroy, holding court, facing the brothers. And he's basically testing them. He wants to know that they feel remorseful, that they sold their brother into slavery, that they had that jealousy. And he arranges through various chicanery, if you will, that Benjamin gets set up to be imprisoned for the rest of his life. Benjamin being Jacob's, his new father's favorite, Israel's favorite, because Joseph is gone. You can tell it's got a lot on my mind, folks. Bear with me here. Okay, so Benjamin is Israel's last reminder of Rachel, his favorite wife, out of all four of them. I'm really not doing good today. Okay, well, what can I say? We're coming on. I'm going to take a few days off, so maybe that'll help next week's. Okay. Anyway, it would have basically killed Jacob to know that his other son from Rachel is no longer available after losing Joseph. So Judah steps up and he says, look, our father is old, he's frail, he's not going to survive knowing that his son Benjamin is lost to him forever the way his other son Joseph was lost to him. Remember, they don't know that this is Joseph yet. So he says, I pledged his safety, take me instead. And it's not just a switch. It's not just take me instead. It's like, I'm stronger. I'm older. I know more. I will be of better use to you anyway. You're getting a bargain in the deal. Take me. And at that point, Joseph can no longer contain himself. He sends everybody out of the room, all the Egyptians, that is. It's him and his brothers, and he reveals himself to his brothers. I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery. And then what does he say? Do not feel bad at what you did. Of course, he's seen that they feel remorseful. It was God's plan all along to send me here to arrange for me to be the person that I am in the court of Pharaoh, to have saved Egypt and basically the world by storing the grain, by giving me that gift of prophecy so that I could do this, so that I could be of use. Joseph sees his scheme in the world. Joseph sees the whole purpose of his prophecy. Now, how many of us have been through adversity? And you always wonder, why did this happen? Why did God do this to me? Well, first of all, we go through life. We're born, we go through life, and we die because we are playing out a purpose. It's our purpose. This is why a lot of traditional Jews and mystical Jews actually believe in reincarnation, because that answers the question, why do I have all this baggage in this life? Because it comes from other lives. It makes sense. I mean, on a practical, logical level. Now, scientifically, we have yet to be able to prove something like that, but mystically, it makes sense. Or it could just be the play of Hashem saying, I am manifesting my consciousness into the material reality. And we are playing out growth in an infinite number of possibilities. And this is scientific too. So it's kind of like, why is your life the way it is? Luck of the draw. It's just the chance, right? You're playing cards, for example. You're playing Monopoly. What are the chances that you roll the dice and land on somebody's boardwalk? Remember that game? Does anybody play Monopoly anymore? Boardwalk with 3 hotels on it or something? It's just happens. It's the forces of nature working. And we don't understand it because we have limited intellects. We have limited perception. So we just kind of have to accept it as it is, and we have to go with it. And this is what Joseph did. He said, I had a purpose here. And all this, you were acting maybe even without knowing what you were doing. Maybe you weren't even making conscious decisions, but just filling out a fate, a pre a course of action that's been predestined. See? So we're bringing you here. Now, a lot of people say too that Abraham was told that your ancestors will live in an alien world. They will live in a foreign country and they will be oppressed. And now we are starting to play out that prophecy. We also look at another part of the prophecy, the fact that Moses couldn't have come, we couldn't have had the Exodus, we couldn't have had the Israelites getting the Ten Commandments and all the other laws and the Torah and the start of this thing called Judaism. So all this is basically a grand plan. Now, some people may say, this is playing out like a movie script. Well, yeah, in a way it is. But doesn't life also play out in a movie script? Maybe because of our own subjective perception, we don't want to see it. So let's start this secular new year that's coming up. And let's think about that. Let's look at adversity and challenges and say, okay, this is a stepping stone to a better world for me and for the world. And with that, I say Shabbat Shalom. Hope you had a great Hanukkah. Happy secular New Year, and thanks for tuning in.